straightforward. First thing you're going to want to do is, of course, get your blue dye. And you'll likely have a saw cut end like this. And again, just a little bit on there to help us. Not a bad idea to paint the outside just a little bit. We'll need that. And try to remember to remove this guy from the lathe chucks. I've walked in here several times and seen these just like that. So again, bad juju. It's just a good way for somebody to get hurt. Okay, so when you're installing your metal in there, we need to set it to a specific length. Like with our crank disc, remember we set out a certain amount to have some material to work with. This is no different. So our overall finish length is 2 inches 60. We don't need that entire 2 inches and 60 protruding from the chuck in order to do this one end. So we know that's 1.310 long. What we need is 1.310 protruding plus an extra safety margin so that the tool doesn't contact the jaws. Easy number, 1/10 of an inch is usually a good number. So with our scale, we'll roughly set this to 1.4-ish inches, all right? Just a little past 1.4 because I know I'm going to face the end off flat. And snug it in. Second verse, same as the first. I'm going to back this off a little bit first. I'm going to run the carriage until it contacts my work stop, as we've done before. Contact the work stop, lock the carriage temporarily. Okay. I've seen a couple of people so far where they're working on their crank disc. Instead of using the carriage to do the turning, they were doing this back and forth. Okay. The compound is only used to set our length. That's it. Once you set the length, leave it alone. That's what the carriage is for, to move back and forth, to traverse and make those horizontal cuts. Okay. So I got it up against my stop. I'm going to bring the tool in until it just about contacts my work. Just as before, we're going to shave, face cut the front of this off till it's just flat. Once I get there, I'm going to set this guy to 0. Matter of fact, with it up against my work like that, I'm going to preset my 0 point to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to preset 0, back it away. Just warp 3 here. Faced it off, it's flat. Set this guy to 0 gently. So we know the length of the cut we need to make in total is 1.310. We're going to move 1.3 inches and leave that last 0.010 for face cut, just like we did on our crank disc. No different. So how do we do that? On our crank disc, it was easy enough. It was just 2 turns. Well, now we gotta count revolutions, or right, our friend. Okay. There's no reason why you can't just set this guy right here. That, set it at 1.3 inches, because I know 1 full revolution is 1/10 of an inch, right? So when I get to the very end, I should be back to 0 at 1.3 inches, right? I'm kind of covering this up for you, but I'm not left-handed. 0, right? And then so just quick sanity check. Bring the tool in close to make sure that the tip of the tool is 1.3 from the end. I'm golden, right? So that now sets the length of cut. I'll leave that alone. Unlock. Remember to unlock this guy. I've seen several people up here cranking on this thing, and it's very hard to turn. Well, the reason it's hard to turn is somebody forgot to unlock the carriage lock. Unlock it, set it free, and now we can easily do this. Now, we're going to use the power feed here. With the crank disc, I was having you do it manually because it was just such a short distance. Well, in this instance, we're going to use the power feed, but we're going to pay very close attention because once it gets very, very close to our stop, you're going to want to disengage the power feed so it doesn't contact, because several of you found out if you let it contact, what happens? It locks up. Right? Doesn't want to disengage. All right? Disengage it and then finish the last remaining distance by hand. Easy enough, right? So we've set our length. Now we need to establish that diameter so we know where to start from. Just as we did before, we're going to come in and just take a cut till it's round so I can measure and work out how much I need to take off. So once again, I'm going to get the tool close to my work. Sometimes what you can do is get a piece of paper, put the paper between the tool and the work, and just kind of work it up and down until it just contacts, like that. Then come in and set this to 0, right, to get it close. That way you're not trying to work this thing halfway around where it needs to go, right? Get it close to where we need to be, done. All right, so I'm hopefully 4 thousandths, 3 thousandths away from the my work. So I'm going to take 10 thousandths.
Taking 10 thousandths.
Rock and roll. So there's 10 thousandths of an inch. Okay. It's round. So I'm going to set this now to 0 again. That's my starting point. And ideally, this guy. So if you haven't used this in a while, now's the time. All right, so this piece of bar stock is slightly larger than our finished stock. 0.5 or 499 is our finished target, roughly. This stock is slightly oversized to accommodate this turning because we have to turn it down. I could buy 1/2 inch stock, but because that's 0.5 inches, my finished size is 499, it's extremely difficult to take off 1/1000th of an inch, okay? So we went to the next size up in 1/8 inch increments, so 5/8 is this diameter. So this should be near as maximum difference, 625. And survey says, 620 on the nose. Great. So my finished diameter is what? 313. So how much do I need to take off to get down to 313? Anybody got a free calculator? Everybody's taping? So 307 is the amount we need to take off. Now that diameter, I'll give you a 3 decimal place number, like plus or minus 5 thousandths. In our case, I probably should put a bilateral tolerance on that and say 313 or less, right? Because of how things stack up. So your target should be 313 or slightly less. So plus 0, minus 10 would be a good number. So anywhere between 303 and 313, you're golden. Okay. So no bigger. Okay. So what did I say?
That's 0.10.